Good evening, guys. Welcome to PyNet Labs. This is a free webinar for Inter-VLAN Communication, and this is in continuation with what we did last time. Okay, so we learned how to create VLANs, and then how to create a trunk between the VLANs if you have multiple switches together, and like we learned all of that. In case you missed that out for some reason, okay, you could always go back and like go to YouTube and like watch that previous webinar. Okay, but this is in continuation of the webinar that we did last time. Before we proceed ahead, if you could guys please give me a quick confirmation that you can hear me and also see my screen, the PPT that's on, if that's visible to you, and am I audible? If you could kindly confirm. Yes, guys, you can use your voice, no worries. No need to type in things. You can just use your voice and tell me if you can hear me out. Guys, can you hear me? Can you provide a quick confirmation?
Yes, I can hear you.
Thanks a lot. Thank you. And this interactive session will help us create the session exciting, right? So use your voice, no worries. Only if there's a lot of background noise at your end, try and mute yourself once you're done speaking. All right. So what we are looking to discuss today is inter-VLAN communication. Okay. So this is in continuation to what we did previously, meaning we already created VLANs, right? And now we want them to communicate back again, right? So I don't know if you guys have missed it. So let's, anyway, I'll be needing the scenario to work with. So let's just create a VLAN and with the two devices, like in a very basic format, so that we can proceed ahead with our topic for the day. I hope you can see my packet tracer screen. So what we'll do is we'll just get a switch 2950, nothing fancy here. So let's get one switch here. Let's get some devices. So let's get a PC here. So this will be in VLAN 1, and what we'll do is we'll put the other PC and like VLAN 2. All right. And let's first, before that, connect our devices together. All right, so that's STP happening, right, as you guys know, and so it's on in the background that's happening, and it'll take its own 50 seconds. Meanwhile, what we'll do is create VLANs. Okay, if you had attended the last time session, you would know how to create VLANs. Can somebody help me out? I want to create VLAN 2. How can I create VLAN 2? I want to create a VLAN with an ID 2. How do you create that? You can use your voice, guys.
Interface VLAN.
No.
We have to create a VLAN inside the interface. So first we have to enter the interface.
Okay, so what we are going to do is see guys. So we already have VLAN 1. Okay, so if I do a show VLAN thing,
yes,
okay, yeah. So what you will see is you will see VLAN 1 by default, and there are some other default VLANs as well for internal purposes and for other things. Not our concern right at the moment, but this is VLAN 1 and this is default, and you can see all the 24 switches right now being a part of VLAN 1. All right, so what we'll do is we'll quickly create in the configuration mode, of course. Anything you want to change and configure, of course, you need to go into configuration mode, right? We'll quickly do a VLAN 2. That's all. That is all that needs to be created. Okay, so you say VLAN and the ID, and that's created. You hit enter, and now VLAN 2 is created. Of course, it has nothing in it, right? In fact, even if you don't give a name, it will like have the default name of VLAN 2. Okay, so let's just, for the sake of simplicity, let's give it a name, and like you can do that. Okay, so this is name HR, right? So you have created basically a VLAN 2 with its name HR. If I hit enter, I'll go back just for the sake of saving it out of habit. Let's save it. And what we'll do is show VLAN again. If I do, can you see that now this is VLAN 2 created by the name of HR? Okay, it's active, but I mean, yeah, of course, it does not have any ports in it. Okay. Again, guys, how do
I
you
have a question one.
put fast Ethernet 0/2 in
Hello.
VLAN 2? Yes.
Sir, if one wants to change the name of VLAN, can we do that?
Yes, you can do that.
Yeah.
You can
How?
overwrite it. You can overwrite it.
Yes. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, you can simply overwrite it. So that is how like iOS works, right? So in case you want to remove things, you can always use the no negation command, right? And whenever you want to change stuff, you can just overwrite things, okay? And it will change. Okay. If I want to put fast Ethernet 0/2, the interface, right? For PC1, as you can see, if I want to put it in VLAN 2, what do I do? Yes, guys. What is to be done if I want to do that? If I want to like have this fast Ethernet 0/2 be put into VLAN 2. Anybody?
We will enter in interface, then we will give
Okay,
the
one by
command
one step at a time, right? Let's let others also follow. So great, you are right? So we'll first enter the interface mode. Let's say interface fast Ethernet 0/2, right? Then
we will go switch port mode access.
great, absolutely nice, right? So see, with VLANs, we discussed last time as well that the ports are either access mode ports or trunk mode, right? So access are those ports to which you connect in devices. Like in my case, I have connected a PC, right? And this can only be part of one VLAN. So access mode ports can only be part of one VLAN. They cannot be part of multiple VLANs, right? I hit enter. Okay, what's the next step?
Switch port mode
No
access
worries, I'll
VLAN
help
10.
you. So switch mode.
Access
So
VLAN.
basically, yes, access VLAN 2.
VLAN.
What you
Access
are,
VLAN.
yes. So what you are saying to the switch is that the access in access mode, this port, this interface needs to be in VLAN number 2. Is it clear?
Yeah.
Right. So what you're basically implying with all of this is that the fast Ethernet 0/2 has to be a part of VLAN 2. Clear? Simple as that, right? So, but of course, as always, you should always have a habit of like verifying stuff. Okay. So if I do a show VLAN now, yeah, you can see that VLAN 2 HR is in it also has this port fast Ethernet 0/2. And if you were to check the above port range, okay, you will not see fast Ethernet 0/2 on the upper side, right? Because why? It has moved on to the VLAN 2 side. So like cool, that's done. All right. Okay. Now this is something that we had done earlier as well. Okay. For this time, we'll change certain scenarios. So like what we'll do is this side. Okay. So let's say VLAN 1. Okay, this will be on the network, like all the devices on this VLAN 1 should be on the network of 0.0. Okay, now why is that so? Because we finally want to have inter-VLAN communication, right? So that is why we are putting different VLANs on different networks. Okay, and we'll just get to it in a moment as to why we are doing so. However, we'll create VLAN 2 and the network for the same will be like 192.168, let's say 1.0, meaning they are on different networks, right? Now this PC0 is a part of VLAN 1, right? Hence, we'll be putting up an address of 192.168, let's say 0.2, right? On the PC. The gateway as of now is not required since we haven't put really anything else apart from that, but we'll get to it in a while. Okay. So let's just keep it to that. The PC, the other PC is a part of VLAN 2 and we'll be putting it on like 1.2, right? The IP address, because all VLAN 2s are we are assuming they are on the network of 1.0, right? And like that's done. Okay, let's also name it for the sake of convenience. Okay, so like 0.2 and this is like 1.2, right? So these two PCs are on different networks, they are on different VLANs, and they will not be communicating with one another, right? Of course, they will not do it, right? Because they are in different networks, they're also in different VLANs. Now, if I want them to communicate with one another, what are the possible things that can be done, right? That is what we want to look into for today. So one of the things that you can do is the method is called ROAS, which means router on a stick. Right? What does router on a stick mean? So basically, why is it called so? Essentially, is because the scenario looks like so. So what we'll be doing is you have this switch on which you have created VLANs. For example, VLAN 1 and 2, right? The PCA is, let's say, on VLAN 1. And you have PCB, which you have on like VLAN 2. All right. Now, these two need to communicate with one another again. Okay. We have split them. Now, we want them to communicate with one another again. What you can do is you can use a router to help with this communication. Now the scenario itself looks like a router is placed on a stick, and hence the name router on a stick, right? That is why it is called a router on a stick. But how is it that you would be able to use the router to communicate between these two VLANs? Okay, so that is possible through the creation on the router. Okay, so on the router, what you will do is create sub interfaces.
SPI.
No. That SVI is a second technology that we'll be discussing in a while. The first is router on a stick, right? And what we'll be doing is essentially we'll be creating sub interfaces. Okay, now what is a sub interface? A sub interface is a logical interface which you create on a router. For example, let's say this interface is fast Ethernet 0/0. Okay. What you could do is you could split this fast Ethernet 0/0 into multiple sub interfaces. Okay, and how are they named? So they'll be named as fast Ethernet 0/0.1. Okay, they'll be named as 0/0.2, 0/0.3, 0/0.4, and so on and so forth. And what you could assign is you can assign a VLAN to these interfaces for communication. Yes, please.
Sir, can we use multi-layer switch instead of router?
You can do that. You can do that. So those are like two methods. Either you can use a layer 3 switch. We'll be getting to in that. In fact, the easier method is to use a layer 3 switch. But if you do not opt for that, then this is also an option. Right? This is a little more complicated. This is a little more expensive. Why expensive? Because in addition to the switch, you're using a router as well. Right?
Right.
But this is like one of the also ways that you can like use it to make inter-VLAN communication possible. All right. So with these sub interfaces, these are logical interfaces. Okay, these are not real interfaces. The real interfaces, physical interfaces, just fast Ethernet 0/0. Within it, you can create these list of sub interfaces. Okay, and what you could do is you can assign a VLAN to be carried by that particular interface. Okay, for example, you say VLAN 1 will be carried by, let's say, 0/0.1. You will say a VLAN 2 will be carried by 0/0.2, and VLAN 3 will be carried by 0/0.3, and so on and so forth. You can do that. Again, there is no correlation with the number. Okay, like 0.0.1 can only carry VLAN 1. That's not true. Okay, I mean the number have nothing to do with one another. But yeah, each sub interface, okay, will carry a particular VLAN ID. Is that clear? Is it clear, guys? Any doubts? So you can basically, what you'll do is the first step is to create sub interfaces. Then what you will do is you will assign a VLAN to each of the interfaces, each of the sub interface, I mean. So that is as simple as this. Okay, I mean, like, this is done. This is what it is, right? I mean, of course you have to translate it into commands, but like this is what it is. Okay, one of the things that you don't need to ever forget is that this interface on the switch side that is connecting to the router, please do not forget it to trunk. Can somebody tell me why do we need to trunk this?
We have to access multiple VLANs.
Multiple VLANs, right? A trunk interface does this as simple as that, right? I mean, what a trunk does this, right? It carries multiple VLAN information. Hence, you would have to trunk it, right? And any which way, please remember, guys, as a thumb rule, wherever you have router to like a switch to a router connection or a switch to switch connection, simply trunk it, right? Simple as that. Okay, so yeah, before we forget, let's trunk this, okay, because, and let's connect a router. Okay, so let's get started with our Inter-VLAN thing. So again, nothing fancy here. That's just a 2811 simple series router, right? It's not nothing fancy here. So again, what we'll do is we'll connect, okay, fast Ethernet 0/0, and be careful of the interface that you connect it to on like both sides, because those are very critical, right? Because you'll be configuring them. So on the router side, okay, let's just do it like make it trunk. Can somebody help me out here? So like, how do I make interface fast Ethernet 0/3 trunk? What is the command?
Switch mode trunk.
Switch port mode trunk, right? Simple as that. And that's about it. Okay, how do I check if this has been made trunk? I mean, of course it is, but how do you check it via commands?
Show trunk port.
Show interfaces trunk. Okay, so right now, why is it not showing? Because the port itself is off, right? It has not turned on because the router on the other side has not been turned on, right? So let's go step by step now. We'll come back to this again, meaning how do you see the trunk? Okay, so we'll have to see the trunk. It is always good to verify things. Okay, so we'll always do that. Okay, now on the router side, okay, now I hope you remember, guys, that on the router side we have connected like the interface fast Ethernet 0/0, right? So what you will do is, first of all, you will do nothing apart from this, that interface fast Ethernet 0/0. You will simply no shut it. Okay, nothing you will do apart from this. The main interface has to be done, nothing apart from this. Okay, so let's go ahead and do this before we proceed ahead, so that it is not confusing to anybody. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll go to the CLI on the router, enable configuration. Okay, now what we'll do is let's change the host name for like better reference. All right, this interface fast Ethernet 0/0, what we'll do is we'll simply turn it off. Okay, nothing apart from that in like here, nothing else to do. All right, and let's go back and save this. Okay, now once this is on, what we'll do is we'll create sub interfaces. Okay, now how do we do that is we look into, but so what you'll be doing is basically creating two sub interfaces. One is fast Ethernet 0/0.1, and on the other side you will create fast Ethernet 0/0. Okay, now why are we connecting, why are we creating these two interfaces? One to carry VLAN 1 data, one to carry VLAN 2 data, simple as that, right? Okay, so let's do this in command format. How do you need to, like, what commands do you need to put in? Okay, so interface in the global configuration mode. Okay, you'll put this in the global config mode. Okay, what you'll do is interface fast Ethernet 0/0.1, simple as that, right? And you hit enter. Now after this, okay, what you can do is you need to give a command so that it understands that it needs to carry VLAN 1 data. Am I correct? Of course you have to do that, right? So the next command what you do is encapsulation, yes, Yeah, can you help me out here?
On
Encapsulation
tag, on
space
tag.
dot one q. Okay, dot one q. I hope you guys know that all the VLAN thing that we are doing so far, all of that happens because of what? Because of the protocol 802.1q, right? And it is here also that it is going to help us out. Okay, now you have to specify the VLAN ID here after this. All right. So for example, if I write 1 here, what this means is that 0/0.1 will carry VLAN 1 data. Am I clear? Is it clear, guys?
Yes.
Okay. Finally, what you need to do is, please guys, remember that it is not the main interface that you will assign IP address. It is the sub interface. Okay. So what you'll do is IP address. Of course, I hope all of you guys know how to like put in the IP address, right? So yeah, like based on what scenario you are doing, right? So in my case, it is the network of 0.1, right? Meaning I am planning to give 0.0 for VLAN 1, right? So hence this IP address. But of course, it depends on what scenario you are dealing with. And it's a class C, so subnet mask, and no shut need not be given because it's a software thing and it's already up. But even if you give no shut, no harm done, right? So done. Okay, let's do this in on the packet tracer. All right, so what you'll do is you'll go back to the configuration mode. Okay, what you'll type in is interface fast ethernet 0/0.1. Clear? You hit enter, and as soon as you hit enter, you can see that it has changed to upstate. Why? Because it's a software thing, right? You don't really need to it's a software thing, it's not a physical thing, and it's as soon as you refer to it, it's up. Okay, then like we discussed, we need to encapsulate it with .1q. Okay, so encapsulation space .1q, and you are supposed to mention the VLAN ID that it is supposed to carry. So in my case, it is 1. I hit enter, and that's about it, right? Yeah, IP address is something that I need to give without fail. So IP space address and 192 as per my scenario. So 192.168.0.1, 255 or 255 or 255.0. So basically, you see guys, what I'm trying to do here is I am creating another interface. Guys, please mute yourself.
Sorry, sir.
No, it's okay. It's okay. That's okay. Okay, so what we have done is basically we have created fast ethernet 0/0.1, and what we have done is we have put up an IP address of 192.168.0.2. Similarly, what we are planning to do is fast ethernet 0/0.2 we are planning to create, and the IP address that we plan to put up here is 192.168.1.1. Okay, I hope like this part is clear. So we are going to create like 2 sub interfaces with their own IP addresses, right? And like, yeah, that is how it is. So one of the things we have already done, okay, one of the interfaces already done. Like I said, no shut, if you put, no harm done. Okay, so I have my first interface done. Let's do it for the second interface. So interface fast ethernet 0/0.2. All right, this time I'll be encapsulating it with .1q with the information that it should carry VLAN ID 2, right? So I put the number 2, and yep, like that's done. Okay, what you need to do is just put up the IP addresses. Okay, so IP space address, and what you need to do is put up the IP address 192.168.1.1. My bad, right? So that's class C. So 255.255.255.0, and yep, like that's done. Okay, no shut, even if you give, no harm done. Okay, if you want to check the IP addresses that you gave just for the sake of clarity and like verification, what you can do is show IP interface brief. If you do, you can see those sub interfaces here, right? So you can see that fast ethernet 0/0.1 and 0/0.2 are there, right? With the given IP addresses, and great, right? This is sort of done. Okay, what I need to check on the router as well is, last time I could not check the show interfaces trunk command. Okay, as you can see now, that is also up because the link is up, and you can see that fast Ethernet 0/3 is able to carry both VLAN 1 and VLAN 2 data, right? So like, okay, done. What is still missing? Can somebody tell me? Inter-VLAN communication is almost done, but when you try to ping it now, you will see that it does not happen. What have I missed?
Default gateway.
Gateway, right? You guys, you have to always remember that without the gateway, things will not work, right? Things will not work out if you do not get the gateway, right? So what you need to do is provide your PCs with the gateway. Now, what will be the gateway? Okay, so my gateway will be my sub interface. For VLAN 1, it will be my sub interface 192.168.0.1. Okay, so let's give that. Okay, so 192.168.0.1. Here it is complete. Okay, similarly on the other machine, which is of VLAN 2, what is the gateway? The gateway is fast Ethernet 0/0.2. What is the IP address for that? It is 192.168.1.1, right? So let's just put up that as well. So 192.168.1.1. Done. Okay. And if you were to check first time, of course, because of the ARP resolution and things, okay, it will fail, and then let's try it again, and you can see that inter-VLAN communication is possible, right? It is being, the packets being sent are successful. So this is how you do a router on a stick. Now, please do note, guys, that you will always require a router, all right, in addition to your switch. Okay, do not forget to trunk your switch.
Sir, can you please explain the gateway, because I'm new to networking.
Okay, so okay, no problem. So yeah, always ask when in doubt. Okay, this will clear your confusions. Okay, see, whenever you want to have inter-networking, okay, whenever, okay, it's not about this scenario. Okay, let's just forget about even this scenario. Whenever you want to do inter-networking, okay, meaning one network needs to communicate with the other, you have to have gateway. Okay, it's like, even in like layman, very like simple language, if I were to tell you, if you have like two rooms, okay, and these are like synonymous to two networks, if you want to go from one room to the other, you need a doorway, right? So that doorway is the gateway. Gateway is the door to what? The other network. So whenever there is inter-networking happening, let it be whatever, okay, whatever scenario, the word inter-networking comes in play, you need gateways without fail. Okay, as soon as your PC finds out that it wants to communicate with another PC which is on a different destination network, the first thing that it will hunt for is what is your gateway, how can I reach the gateway. Okay, also about the gateway, remember that the gateway is always on the same network as your device. Okay, the gateway is on the same network as your device. Okay, so what this means is, let's say you have a PC and the PC A, and that is connected to a router. All right. So this directly connected interface, okay, one more definition of a gateway is your closest connected or directly connected router interface. So for this PC, what is the gateway? This interface. Okay, let's say this is fast Ethernet 0/0, and it might have some IP address, right? So let's say in 192.168.0.1 in our case. The PC has the IP address 192.168.0.2, for example. Okay, so they are on the same network, and this is the directly or the closest connected interface, right? Hence, this is the gateway. Now, in my case, the PC0 is of a similar network, like what I showed you. Okay, this entire network of VLAN 1, like it resides on 192.168.0.0, right? The PC itself has this address of 192.168.0.2. It is directly connected to a sub interface here, which is 192.168.0.1, right? This is its directly or closest connected interface, hence this is the gateway. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
In case of PC one, however, okay, now you can see that it's on a different network and it is connected to a different sub interface. So what is my directly or closest connected sub interface? It is fast Ethernet 0/2, 0.0/0.2, right? So hence that is the gateway for the other PC, right? So always like look at it from that angle, that what is your closest connected router interface, or your nearest router interface, or your directly connected router interface. Is it clear?
Yes, sir. It's clear. Got it.
All right. Okay, so like this is like one way in which you can like do inter networking, I mean like inter VLAN communication. But
Sir,
there,
in
yes,
switches we don't have gateway, right, sir?
switches, as in see, as if you mean switches cannot have IP addresses, so that's not correct. Switches can also have IP address and stuff. In fact, that is what we are just looking into. All
Okay.
right. Yeah. So in fact, yeah, that way some IP addresses given on the switches can act like a gateway. In fact, surprisingly, that is what we are discussing right now. All right. So the second method of inter-VLAN communication is by using an L3 switch. Okay, now to some people this might be a little confusing because switches are supposed to be layer 2. Okay, switches are basically layer 2 devices, right? Because they deal with only MAC addresses. Then how come this is a layer 3 switch? This is a layer 3 switch because it also understands IP address. Okay, it also understands IP addressing, and for that matter, it also understands routing. Okay, now this switch, okay, since it understands L3, meaning layer 3, IP addressing and stuff, plus of course it's a switch, so it is L2 anyway, hence it is also called as a multi-layer switch. All right, or in other words, it's called the MLS switch, which means the same thing anyway, multi-layer switch. This closely resembles a router. Okay, it is not a router. I mean, technically it is. I mean, it does understand routing and it can route. In fact, it can also understand some protocols and stuff. What is not available is okay, it will not have special WAN connectivity. Okay, meaning wide area network connectivity. It does not really have. Okay, it will not also have advanced router services, for example NAT and like things like that. A discussion for another topic anyway, but just saying that advanced router services that you have, like QoS and NAT and like things like that, okay, those things are not present on the L3 switch because essentially it is not meant for that. It is not supposed to be a router. Okay, then what is it used for? It is used for things like these, okay, to support L2 technology, layer 2 technologies like VLAN. Okay, so it's to support inter VLAN communication and like other L2, meaning layer 2 technologies. Clear?
So one question is there. If
Yes.
someone asks that what is the difference between the L3 switch and the router? What are the answer?
So see, both of them understand IP addressing. Both of them understand routing. Okay, they do understand. L3 switches do also understand routing concepts. Okay, meaning routing protocols and stuff. So what your main differentiating factor is these 2 points. Okay, these two or these three you could say. Okay, so what it means is basically, see, L3 switch is not supposed to replace a router. Okay, at least not now. So what really happens, it is supposed to support layer 2 technology, for example VLAN. Okay, wherever you want like inter VLAN communication, so that can happen like in one device, because VLAN is something that you create on an L2 switch, right? It is not something that you create on a router. Am I correct? Right, so on the device itself you will have VLAN being created. On the same device itself you will have inter VLAN communication also being like conceptualized, right? So that is like happening on one device at one go. Isn't it better, right? Because you're not dealing with multiple devices, you're not configuring like sub interfaces and like complicated stuff. No, nothing. Okay, we'll just get to it as to how you do that. But then yeah, I mean it's making like things simpler for you, because VLAN is not something which you use in a rare case. VLAN is something which is very common. I hope you guys also know that, right? It's something that every organization deals with. So VLAN, yeah, like to deal with VLAN is something like is a normal case, right? And the layer 3 helps, L3 switch helps this in like a great deal. It makes things very less complicated and very easy and less costlier. Yeah, but
Okay, sir,
what it does not have is, you could always say that it does not have those special WAN connectivity features, meaning those ports and like connectivity options are not present here. Advanced router services like NAT, QoS.
like we cannot create an MC lag or some LSCP services on this L3 switch, na?
Yes. Right.
Okay.
So yeah. So meaning like essentially it's not supposed to be a router. That's what the concern is. Right. It is supposed to be for like inter-VLAN communication and things like that. Okay, now how do you deal with this? Okay, like meaning like what's happening here that suddenly a L3 switch, helps you with inter-VLAN communication. Okay, so what really happens here is, as a process, what you do is you treat VLANs as interfaces. Okay, you treat VLANs as interfaces, right? And you assign IP addresses to them. All right, you assign IP addresses to what? To VLANs, right? And these VLANs, okay, that you create and assign IP addresses, these will act as gateways. Okay, so coming back to the question being asked, that do switches like act as gateways or like something similar to that the query was. So these VLANs, okay, so essentially see what will happen is your switch, which is an MLS switch or a layer 3 switch, as you whatever you like want to call it, okay, it will have VLANs. Okay, so let's say it has like VLAN 1 and like VLAN 2, for example, just keeping it simple. What you will do is like have VLAN be assigned an IP address and VLAN 2 be assigned an IP address, and these will act like a gateway to VLAN 1 devices and VLAN 2 devices respectively. Is that clear? Is that clear, guys?
Yes, sir. Clear.
Yes. So what you will do is command anyway is like extremely simple. It's nothing unique that you will be doing anyway. So VLAN, like, I mean, of course, I'll be showing it to you, but I mean, otherwise it's like extremely simple. Okay, on the switch, you create your VLANs and stuff like the normal way you do. Okay, so I'm not going to write that down. But what is new is after doing all of that, guys, please remember that on an L3 switch, the L3 capacity is by default turned off because essentially it's a switch. So L2 capacity is on, L3 is off. You need to turn on the L3 first. Okay, this is where people like forget things. So what you need to do is just insert a small command in the global configuration mode saying like IP routing. Okay, that's about it. This small command enables all L3 capacities. All right. What you will need to do after this is something very simple, that what you will do is like create VLAN as an interface, and you will type in interface VLAN and you will say 1. All right, you hit enter. You will then provide it with an IP address of like based on what scenario it is. In my case, I have not like put up a scenario, but let's say you decided that VLAN 1 was, let's say, on the network of 192.168, let's say 0.0, keeping it very similar to what we did on ROAS. Okay, so let's say my machine is 0.2, the VLAN IP address will be, let's say, 0.1. So yeah, essentially I can give like 192.168 0.1 to my VLAN and the subnet mask as usual, right? I'm not writing that down. And in case you want to be very sure, like give it a shutdown. That's about it. That is it. Like literally that's it. All right. So let's look at this. Any questions here so far? So I can like move on to the
No, sir,
practical
no
part.
question.
All right. Let's then so we'll build a very similar scenario, okay, so that you can make like you can like compare and draw comparisons between the two. Okay, so what we'll need to do is like look into a switch, and what we'll do is like this packet tracer has a symbol like this. Okay, like a square thing with this symbol, like a sun sort of a thing. Okay. This, as you can see, says multi-layer switch, right? What we'll do is we'll have two PCs again. Okay, so like PC1, PC2. All right, and what we'll do is essentially this PC should be a part of, like, let's say VLAN 1. Right, this PC is a part of VLAN 2. Here the like VLAN 1 side, okay, the IP address network is 192.168.0.0/24, and this side it will be different. Okay, so 192.168.1.0/24, right? Now the IP addresses for the machine, so the PC IP address, okay, this is the PC IP address, so this is going to be 0.2, this is going to be 1.2, right? Here, however, the VLAN itself, VLAN 1, will have an IP address which is 0.1, and it will act like a gateway. Gateway to what? This PC, okay, PC2 here, which is a part of VLAN 1, right? So, and we'll also have another like VLAN 2, which is like 1.1, sorry, right? So yeah, like that is what our scenario will look like, right? So this is like VLAN 2. Okay, let's of course connect them together first. Otherwise, how will things work? And we have done our connections. Okay, so of course we'll have to like run down and do the basic things first, meaning we'll have to create a VLAN, right? We know all of that. How do we do it? So what we'll do is in the switch, go to the configuration mode. Okay, and what we are doing is, let's just change the host name. All right, so yeah, what we'll do is we'll create a VLAN 2, right? The name, even if you don't give, it's gonna still just pop up. All right, so this time I'm not giving the name, just to see that a default name comes up anyway. All right, now what we'll do is we'll again move fast Ethernet 0/2 into VLAN 2, right? How do you do it? So interface fast Ethernet 0/2, right? And you know that, right? You yourself gave me the answers. So switch port mode access, right? And switch port access, okay, VLAN 2. Okay, this simply means that fast Ethernet 0/2 is in VLAN 2, right? And it's always too good to check. Okay, so we'll do a show VLAN and let's check our information. Okay, so as you can see, let me just expand the screen a bit. All right, so as you can see, you have VLAN 1. If you don't give a name, this is how the VLAN 2 name appears. Okay, VLAN 2, it's active, and you have this fast Ethernet 0/2 interface in it. Okay, now as far as like the IP addressing is, let's just give IP addresses also to my machines. Okay, so that part is complete. Okay, 192.168.0.2 as per my scenario. Gateway is not something that I'm giving right now because I haven't like turned on interface like VLAN and all of that. Okay, so we'll just come to that in a moment. And the other PC 192.168.1.2, right? And this is a class C thing. Okay, that's basically done. Okay, now what do we need to move on to is the inter-VLAN communication part. All right, how do you do it? So let's go on the switch. Okay, please pay attention, guys, because this is something which is new. Otherwise, we have done already, like we have done already all of that anyway before. Okay, so first of all, like I said, always do not forget to do IP routing, right? Because that's the command that will turn on layer 3 capacity for you. All right, if hit enter, it takes it without any errors, meaning it's working fine. All right, now what you need to do is you need to refer to VLAN 1. Okay, my bad, I have a habit of typing fast Ethernet. So interface VLAN 1, right? So interface VLAN 1, you hit enter, you provide it with an IP address. What is the IP address that we have decided? 192.168.0.1. It's a class C thing, right? So 255.255.255.0. No shut, and that's about it. Okay, you have provided VLAN 1 with an IP address. All right. So the entire VLAN, like VLAN 1, has an IP address now of a class C thing. Okay, that's done. Okay, let's do it for the interface VLAN 2 as well. Now you guys know how to do it. So interface VLAN 2, okay, IP space address. All right, what's the address? 192.168.1.1 class C. So right, and no shut. Okay, and this is done. Right, so yeah, like we are done with it. Okay, what you could do is, if you want to check show IP interface brief, you could do, right? And if you like go down, and what you can see is you have VLAN 1 and VLAN 2 with their respective IP addresses, and they're showing as up. All right. Now again, since we are inter-networking, as you guys know, this will not still work. Why? Because the gateways have been not put up.
So we have to create a virtual gateway for that.
But what, see, the VLAN 1 is the gateway.
Yeah.
VLAN 1 IP address is like the virtual gateway that you're like you're speaking of.
Okay.
All right. So, so you understand, right? The PC2 is a part of VLAN 2. Am I correct?
Yes.
VLAN 1 has an
VLAN
IP
1,
address.
VLAN 1.
So VLAN 1 has an IP address, right? I can simply like refer to it as the gateway. All right. So what we'll do is like we'll go to the PC2, and let's give it the IP address of VLAN 1, okay, as the gateway. So 192.168.0.1. All right. Similarly, for PC3 here, VLAN 2 is the gateway, okay, because it is a part of VLAN 2. Am I correct?
Yes.
And yeah, that's done. Okay, let's do a little fast forward so that everything is updated and stuff. All right, now for the moment of truth, right? Let me just erase off all of this. So yeah, first time, of course, it's the ARP resolution, and can you see that it's successful? All right, so you have two machines with two different networks and two different VLANs all communicating because of this MLS switch. All right. Now, guys, please remember that the method that I mean, you can call it as the L3 switch, but it's also called as the switch virtual interface. Okay, so like you were saying, okay, like you need a virtual gateway. That is what it is. Okay, so switch virtual interface is what we have created, or in other words, SVI, right? Must have heard of the term SVI. This is what SVI is. So we have created because VLAN is not a real interface, right? Is it a physical interface? No, it's a virtual interface. So switch virtual interface. We have created VLAN as a virtual interface. Clear, guys?
Yes, yes.
Sir,
Any
if L3 switch is connected to next to router, then how the communication should be done?
Meaning?
If that L3 switch is connected to a router further, then we have to assign a VLAN and IP address on it for the communication.
So depends on like what the scenario is, right? In case it is like if you are connecting like to a further network, then like that is how it will be. But then it depends on like what the scenario is, right? Then it depends on like what the scenario is, and like who are you connecting to, what are the different other destinations, and like how is everything like connected, and like what is the scenario entire. That will decide like what the connections are, what the gateways are, and like stuff. All right, guys. So are we clear on this inter-VLAN communication thing?
Yes, yes, sir.
All right. So any more queries? Any more queries, guys? With whatever we did, anything else that you want to know about?
No, sir, no query.
All right, then this is Sohail signing off, right? See you back again and with some new webinar.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Welcome.
Thank you,
guys.
sir.
Welcome. Do tell us in the comments if you need some more webinars on particular topics.
Thanks.
Welcome, guys. See you.